can do to improve it. On Magic here, I've drawn just the lower jaw, painted the lower jaw, and this here corresponds to this, which is the temporomandibular joint. A lot of times people say, oh, my horse has TMJ. Well, everybody has a temporomandibular joint. That's the TMJ. But pain occurs in this joint very, very frequently. And people don't always realize that there's pain there because they don't tell us they have pain there. That one indicator of having pain and tightness in the TMJ, temporomandibular joint, is if your horse can't yawn. So that is one of the huge things that I work on every single day that has gone unrecognized. But you can start seeing, is my horse yawning? So that's one sign of having issues there, and I'll leave you with just that one. So the atlas, from the Greek god, I guess, I don't think he was real, holds up the head. We have an atlas as well. It's our first cervical vertebrae. It's the most common site of pain and injury for humans, and it pretty much is for horses too, because again, we're looking at long levers. We have this vulnerable vertebrae here, and it connects to the back of the skull, and then we pull on the head. We want to have connection with the head, but pulling on the head has a lot of negative consequences for the horse. So can everyone see how the atlas fits together with the skull? And we're going to leave those on the table, and on our break after this little section, everybody can come up and get a closer look at these. So this is our shoulder joint. Their shoulder joint is totally different than ours because we're upright and they're on all fours. So it's a fun fact, so I put that on your fun fact list, is they don't have a clavicle to stabilize their rib cage. And so the second area I treat most that's unrecognized. Everyone knows horses get sore backs, but the unrecognized things that are often diagnosed as hoof problems or foot problems that just don't get better, the fact that if there's nothing to stabilize this rib cage, that means the ribs are not stabilized. And this is actually the first rib. It's in front of the scapula. And then this is the second rib, which is also just in front or just barely under. So a lot of horses have this really tight band that sticks up. A lot of horses, a lot of quarter horses especially. Inappropriate use of the neck and the body creates such tension on that rib that it actually becomes inflamed and slightly displaced here. But where's our first rib? It's under our clavicle. So they don't have a clavicle to protect these first ribs. So that's just another thing to be conscious of. Can your horse yawn? And does your horse have this huge, thick, tight band right in front of their shoulder? Because when they do, the other neck muscles aren't quite properly developed. What I've drawn in red here is the upper ligament system of the horse's back. And this is what lifts the horse's back. People think, well, that back muscle contracts and gets strong. But when muscles contract, they get shorter. So you can't lift your horse's back by letting it contract. It's actually a whole system of ligaments. And so this nuchal ligament attaches here at the back of the skull. The occiput is what it's called. That's actually the pole. People think that this region is the pole. It's the back of the skull is basically the pole, and then the atlas is the next vertebrae. So it attaches there, this big, fat, elastic cord. Oh, what a good boy. And then it runs this whole length, and then in this area, it melds with a ligament that's called the supraspinous ligament. They basically are one continuous thing that is covering the vertebrae all the way down to the sacrum. They evolved not for us to ride. That's the extra gift from God. They evolved over 55 million years to graze, for their head to be on the ground without effort. You wouldn't want to be putting out effort and wasting calories and wasting energy all day long, every day, just to eat. So this system evolved to work passively to hold up this 400 to 500 pounds of guts, of heart and lung, and 100 feet of gastrointestinal tract is what they have, and all the ingesta and the fiber and the manure. That's a lot that's suspended from this spine. So it'd be like us carrying this giant bag around all the time. So Mother Nature created this structure that could carry all that without having to work hard, because that would be ridiculous. How would you survive if you used all your calories to carry your body around? Feeding on the ground. Some of you heard me say that we talked about their back evolved. I don't think I said that, right? We talked about they evolved to be eating down the ground, 17 to 19 hours eating on the ground, walking with their face down. So the two ways that you guys at home can help that is put flowers in your hay rack. No more hay in your hay racks. You go to the feed store, they tell you need a feed rack. You open a catalog, it tells you need a hay rack. And so I empathize with your hay rack situation, but just put flowers in it. Feed on the ground, not in the sand, not in the dirt, but down low. You can get a big feeder down low, but you want their head to be down all the time, taking advantage of that upper contraction system, that upper ligament system. It doesn't take your time, it doesn't take money, it doesn't take energy. Just let them eat on the ground. And you can take them for grazing walks. The most body parts move the greatest range of motion at the walk. So because their jaws, their dental structure also evolved for eating on the ground. And we've not only changed their diet, we've changed everything. And now dentistry is discovering problems that I'm sure didn't exist before, because horses wouldn't have maintained their teeth, or they would have evolved a different situation. So their teeth and their respiratory tract are significantly affected by feeding on the ground, because when they pull that hay out, all the dust and allergens go right up their nose, and they can't blow it out either because their head's up and their neck is craned, because they always choose one side of the hay rack, a lot of times because it's in the corner and they have to, and so they'll stand twisted, overdeveloping a muscle that shouldn't even be developed at all, while keeping their back hollow, and then having their jaw in an abnormal position. I've presented just a few of the highlights from this event. I hope that you've enjoyed and received some useful information to help you keep your horse sound and healthy. Remember, by understanding how your horse's body works, you can be instrumental in keeping your horse healthy, sound, and happy. I am producing a series of DVDs that detail in greater depth how to understand your horse and allow them the full expression of movement, grace, and freedom. Please keep checking my website for free tips and clips from these upcoming DVDs.